Good morning. It is Monday, April 12th. This week we are going to be focusing for Monday and Tuesday. We are going to be focusing on fact and opinion. We know that a fact is something you can prove from the text. An opinion is someone's thoughts and opinion, obviously, about something. So today we're going to be reading a text called My Trip to Ellis Island, but first we're going to be looking at the questions. All the following sentences from the text are facts except. All right, so that means there's going to be two facts and one is not. So we need to find the one that is not a fact. All right, question 2. Which of the following from the passage is an opinion? Number 3. What opinion does the author's grandmother most likely have of America? What is the grandmother opinion? All right, and then number 4, which of the following words best describes the feeling the narrator has for her great-great-grandmother? Okay, so all right, so we need to figure out which one of these is not a fact. We need to figure out which one of these is an opinion. We need to figure out which one of these is the opinion that the grandmother has. And then we need to figure out what the narrator feels about her great-great-grandmother. All right. My trip to Ellis Island. Look there, child, Grandma whispered in my ear. She nudged my elbow and grabbed my face by the chin, turning it ever so gently. This is where your great-great-grandmother entered into this beautiful land. All right, so let's see. Grandmother whispered in my ear. So grandmother feels like it's a beautiful land. I want to underline that. It was a long time ago, but we mustn't ever forget. My parents had been planning this trip for as long as I can remember. You must always remember your ancestors, my mom would say, and respect the sacrifices they made to come to America. My dad would chime in. As the ferry neared the island, I glanced at my parents. Their knuckles had gone white from holding each other's hands so tightly, and there were tears in my mother's eyes. Ellis Island was a huge station, and so here's a picture of it, for immigrants or people moving from one country from another prior to 1954. Before immigrants entered the United States, they stopped in Ellis Island. Immigrants had to prove they were healthy and would not spread any diseases to the people on the mainland. For some, the island was a place of hope. The island represented a new life in America. For others, the island was scary and unpredictable. Immigrants were not always sure they would be allowed into America. They feared they would be sent away. Your great-great-grandmother was one of the lucky ones, my mother explained. She left Poland at a time when she was not welcome as a Jew. Life in Poland was dangerous for her. I learned that my great-great-grandmother had brought her 2 children along with her for the voyage. She didn't care that she didn't speak English or have very much money. All she wanted was for her children to have a safe and happy life. She must have been very brave. I wonder what she would say now if she knew her grandchildren were now doctors, lawyers, pilots, teachers, and politicians. All right, so we're going back to our questions, and we're going to do 1 and 2 together. All of the following sentences from the text are facts, except, okay, Ellis Island was a huge station for immigrants or people moving into one country. Nope, that is a fact. All right, so we're not looking for facts, we're looking for opinion. Immigrants had to prove they were healthy and would not spread any disease to people on the mainland. Okay, now that is a fact. My pencil is not working. All right. All the opinions of the text are facts except, so then C, she must have been very brave. All right. Question 2. Which of the following sentences from the passage contains an opinion? I learned that my great-great-grandmother had brought her 2 children along with her for the voyage. That's a fact. As the ferry neared the island, I glanced at my parents. The ferry it does near the island. That is stated in the text. This is where your great-great-grandmother entered this beautiful land. Now, some people might not think it's beautiful, but some people did. So C is my correct answer. All right, so you're going to answer 3 and 4. We're going to move on to Tuesday, April 13th. We have the Supreme Court. I want to see something real quick. All right, the Supreme Court. Let's look at our questions first. All of the following sentences from the text contain opinions except, okay, so we're looking for the fact. So I'm going to write that down so I know that that's what I'm looking for. All right, number 2, which of the following sentences from the passage contain a fact, okay, about the Supreme Court? Number 3, the passage states that Cora watched men and women run up and down the steps. How could this best be verified as a fact? Okay, and then number 4, which word best describes the feeling Cora holds of the Supreme Court? All right, let's get ready. The Supreme Court. So we know this is a nonfiction text. Cora and her friends skipped off the school bus and chatted amongst each other as the teachers moved them along. They walked for about 10 minutes before arriving at the base of a large building with tall white columns and tons of stairs. Cora knew from the picture her teacher had shown that they had arrived at the Supreme Court building. Sorry about that. The pictures were beautiful, but the building was far better than she could have ever imagined. She watched men and women run up and down the stairs in suits. They seemed so busy and so important. So I'm going to underline that because I know there was a question about that. I want it to be easy to come back and find it. The lesson her teachers had taught her about the Supreme Court had been the coolest. Her teachers always found ways to make learning fun and interesting. She had learned that the Supreme Court is the highest court in America. It makes important decisions about laws. If a lower court makes a decision that the Supreme Court doesn't agree with, they can override the decision. The Supreme Court does not have many cases. Instead, they focus on the most important cases. These cases are ones that affect many Americans. One of the most famous cases decided by the Supreme Court was Brown versus Board of Education. In this case, the Supreme Court ruled that segregating schools, meaning separating African Americans and whites, or dividing schools based on skin color, was unconstitutional. As Cora thought back on the amazing things she had learned about the Supreme Court, she felt inspired. She knew many brave people had walked these steps. Big decisions that affected her, even now, today, were made in this place. Cora took a deep breath and took a step back. She hoped that one day she could also help to make a big difference in the world. All right, so we're going to be looking at question 1 and 2. All right, so we're looking for a fact. All the following sentences from the text contain opinions except, so we're going to look for the one fact. The pictures were beautiful, but the building was far better than she could have ever imagined. Well, that's still her opinion because some people might not think the pictures were beautiful. If a lower court makes a decision that the Supreme Court does not agree with, they can override. Well, that was stated truly as a fact. As Cora thought back on the many amazing things she had learned about the Supreme Court, she felt inspired. Well, that again is an opinion. So B is my correct answer. All right. So which of the following sentences from the passage contains a fact about the Supreme Court? Okay, if a lower court makes a decision that the Supreme Court does not agree with, they can override the decision. All right, we just talked about that one in number 1. All right, so then let's see. The lessons her teacher had taught her about the Supreme Court was the coolest. That's an opinion. Maybe another student didn't think that way. Her teacher always found ways to make learning fun and interesting. Well, that's an opinion too, because some students might not have found that. So my correct answer is A. And you're going to answer 3 and 4 on your own.